Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. This is Self-Assessment 2020 and today is business. It's part 5. Freelancers sell what they do. Entrepreneurs sell what other people do. Outsourcing. Setting wealth triggers, environmental triggers to remind you about your goals for your income, financial income or wealth, or the business that you want to be building, which is something that I do as part of my habit building focuses. But yeah. The good thing about doing a minimal viable product, the smallest version, to be able to sell the product, is because it's fast and it proves to you if something can sell or not, rather than going through a massive process and spending loads of money and never actually getting a return on it. Adding value first before asking for anything, so offering something before actually asking for anything in return. And this is because people have got their guard up a lot of the times and they're just going to say no straight off the bat without actually processing through what you're offering. So business wise, I want to start some businesses or a business as well and try and make this successful and expand on from there. Right now I'm classified as self-employed and I do freelance 3D design work, which is what I studied previously, professional I'd guess, but it's not generating me enough income and I want to expand and try other new things. I tried a clothing line in the past and it wasn't as successful as I would have hoped it would have been. This is down to my own fault that I didn't really have an easy to use platform where people can make purchases extremely easily. Since creating that clothing brand that was unsuccessful, in my own defense, I learned a lot of things along the way, how to produce products and sorts of things that reduce cost, all the different means of producing products as well, but in the form of clothing in that sort of niche area. But I didn't take off how I'd hope it would. Now you've got things like Redbubble, which is a print-on-demand service where you use other companies to produce your products for you, and then you take a hit on the profits, but then you don't actually have to commit to buying stock that might not even be used. I've also been looking at drop shipping and things like this, which is arbitrage, and you buy and sell things simultaneously at different prices and values. This has been happening throughout the dawn of time, where people buy and sell things at different costs to create value. On my researching, I've been collecting notes in this book here, but I haven't actually executed upon any of it in the sense of drop shipping. It's something that I want to do. You've got things like Shopify now where you can build stores in hours and it doesn't take that long. It costs £30 a month. First month is free or 20 days is free, and then you can generate money. There's ads I see everywhere and people making £10,000 to £20,000 a month, which is kind of sounds ridiculous and loads of people think it's a scam. But if you think about the business model, it actually makes a lot of sense, and it is easy. I would say think that it's possible. It's a lot more possible to make 10 grand a month doing a drop shipping model where you're buying and selling stuff from suppliers going straight to the customer than it would be for me to be doing freelance 3D design work or any other business model, I would assume. So for right now, I'm making YouTube videos because this is part of a goal. Some people would see this as a business model and people generate money from this. I would not see this as a business model, maybe in the future, but right now it is definitely not feasible because I haven't even got any viewers. I'm just kind of making this right now and seeing how it goes. Also, I need to complete this goal. As for 2021, I need to make a goal to start the dropshipping store because I haven't actually done it. There is a website you can go on. It is called simplicable.com, and this is a great website. I'm going to leave a link in the description, and it tells you loads and loads of different things about building businesses. Like, it is like the Bible for building businesses, but I think maybe it's too much information. You should always refer back to it, but always have a clear picture of what you want to go for and instinctively go for it. It has, for instance, it has lists of different business models, the psychology behind making sales, improving your sales pitch and stuff like this, some of the cognitive biases and stuff related to making sales, decoy products, where you can put bundles of products in groups to entice people to buy something and lead them into making a purchase in specific areas. These are very important bits of information and it's really interesting to look at, but without me making an actual business, I'm not actually making a business. So my goal for 2021 is to actually build a business, a dropshipping store, no matter what, if it fails, no matter what, if it's successful, but I have to try it and see for myself rather than just going on the internet and shouting scam, 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 because I have no idea really. I started a Redbubble account as well, doing print on demand, but it kind of feels like more like a joke. It costs like £15 of products or something like this. I think the idea of a dropshipping store, not dropshipping, sorry. I think the idea of a print-on-demand service is to do rapid prototyping and test loads of variants of designs and brands. And then when you hit something in the market and the market is actually picking up on it, then what you can do is you can buy your own equipment and then drop out the middleman, which will be Redbubble, and then you can take more of the profits. Because in the end, then it's just the branding. It's just a cheap, fast, cost-effective way of getting brands out really quickly. When I originally started that first clothing brand, I didn't have any of this available, or I wasn't actually aware of it. Now, things are different. So some of the things that I've been looking at as well with my notes in the book here is added value. When people have dropshipping stores, you're competing against other dropshippers, and how you can actually make products better is you can contact Chinese suppliers and make improvements, slight improvements to the products themselves from looking at the feedback when people give their responses or comments to how they find the product previously. You got the arbitrage as well, the perceived value, and this could go through branding. So depending on what your branding is, it can actually increase or decrease the perceived value of the product. Could be like a luxury item or something like this. Also, if you've got an item that is not typically normal on the market, then the value of it is more arbitrary, and you can change the prices how you will, because no one really knows how to compare the prices, which is quite interesting. Basically, I've got loads of notes in here, but a lot of this doesn't sound that relevant and you won't really understand a lot of it. I'd say it tells you about how much Amazon is ranked and stuff, what is the best platforms to go onto it. The difference is that if you use Shopify and things like this, you basically have to create your own, you have to funnel your own clients into there, or your own customers into there. Whereas if you've got Amazon using things like this, platforms like this, they've got dedicated search engines which can reduce the amount of effort that you have to go through. Not going to say it's reduce it entirely, because you want to be doing your own marketing as well to boost the prospects of getting customers. Another thing I was looking at and trying to do as well is liquidation pallets, where you buy liquidated pallets from different stores online and you can try and make profit on this. If you look online, loads of people make quite a bit of profit on there. And what I was looking at is Amazon. It said that around 8% of products is returned in physical markets, but on Amazon then there's more than 30% of all products is returned and they're not really shipped back out. Then there's an abundance of products that can't really be sold again or resold. So what they do is they bundle it all together and they make liquidation pallets that you can buy at 1/10 of the cost, which is ridiculous. I bought 2 liquidation pallets, massive pallets came in, but I bought the ones that were returned goods. So there's a mixture of broken items and fixed items. I did get my value back. There was 2 massive rubber dinghies in there, which cost a couple £100, and it gave me back the entire value of what I spent. So that was great. But then there's a lot more handling. So the difference would be is then you have to physically handle different elements of products. Whereas if you do something that's completely online, then you don't have to physically handle products. And if you set it up in the right way, then it's completely automated and it does it for you. I want to have the business idea, the business model in the health niche, because then at least it's helping people to develop better habits or better health, which is obviously positive, rather than doing something more negative or choosing a market that is ultimately not going to help people. Also, the health niche is actually going crazy, I think, and if I don't jump on it and do something, then there's going to be problems. Worst comes to worst, I get my own health needs catered to at reduced price. Cards with tips. Value is not giving everything you have to offer, it is giving what is needed when it's needed. If you give someone an entire cake, they're not going to appreciate it when they ask for some, but if they ask for a slice and you give it that, it gives it the quality, the perceived value. They say less is more as well, so things like this. I was looking at trademark infringement. What is that? What is this? I was looking at the ideas of logos and like business logos and stuff, and how at one point they did incorporate into 3D designs for logos, but they didn't last very long, and now it's a lot better to have it 2D, flat. Rules of wealth. Men of action are favoured by the god of luck. I was looking at operating expenses and overhead. Overhead is when you have an abundance of products, or like making lists of everything that is tax deductible as well, because this can be important. Just gathering loads of bits of information. I was looking at things like Skillshare because I've done the 3D design. Maybe I can make a training course, a digital learning course of how you can do 3D design. The different types of brands that you have lifestyle brands, brands that appeal to lifestyle in a particular way. You have value brands, brands that are saying they're eco-friendly. You have family brands that convey the story of being in a family. Or brand recall. Brand recall is the percentage of the market that is able to identify your brand when thinking about a category of niche or selling items. Like when you hear headphones, the brand that you hear first is the brand recall. And brand recognition is the amount of people within the market that can name your brand by seeing the logo or anything like this. Brand recognition. They're able to recognize your brand within it's established in the market. I've been learning things about internal branding as well. Like when you're building bigger businesses, people that build bigger businesses, what they're saying as well is you need to focus on your internal branding, like as well as your external branding and what your customers see. If you work on your internal branding, then your members of staff will convey that same branding. If your store was all about helpful, honest advice, well then you internally, you need to make it your brand, make it your mission to distill these sort of ideals into your staff to then expand outwards. Your brand strategy. What is your strategy behind your brand? I was looking at something called 1,000 True Fans, and it's the idea that you do not need millions of people to create a successful business. You need 1,000 die-hard fans that are willing to buy your product. If you release one product every month and sold it for £10, with 1,000 people you're making over 100,000 a year. A brand mission is a short statement that declares the purpose of your business. What is the intention? It's very often vague, generic, and not even really focused on. But the brand mission is quite important because once you know what that is, it doesn't really matter what product you're selling, and when times change you're still able to have that as your North Star because it's your brand mission, like the idea what you're heading towards. You have things like upsell tools, downsell tools, and sidewards selling tools. Upsell is when you use cheap products to get someone into a store and then you show them different products at a higher cost, and that's upsell. You use a small product to entice them in and then you use the higher products to try and get more money from them. You got downsells as well, where you can also go down in price, and then you got side sells where if you sell them the camera, then you sell them the batteries, then you sell them the bag, then you sell them the thingy. They're all just kind of useful different tips. Also, I was learning things about minimal viable product, minimal sellable product, MVP. And this is basically stop faffing around and convoluting the whole process. What is your minimum viable product, selling product? What is the smallest amount of effort or maquettes or something like this where you can actually start gaining traction and create cash flow? There's a thing called fair usage. Don't quote me on this, but I think that it is where you can use the brands of others as long as you're not profiteering. So I could create a clothing with a symbol on there, but as long as I'm not selling it, then it's fair usage. This is my understanding of that. Also, I watch loads of YouTube channels like The Contrepreneur and things like this, where they're supposed to be like debunking and trying to analyze con artists that are just trying to take money and stuff like this, and trying to differentiate between what are the actual businesses and what are just scam artists, which is interesting to look at. You get loads of things with drop shipping and everything along these lines, which makes me question the business model. But then again, if I don't try it, I do not know if it works or not, if it's successful, and who is actually gaining this sort of income and who is just some sort of mirage, not doing what they're saying. What is the smallest viable audience? So if you used to niche down into different areas of your audience, what would it be? So if you wanted to do lifestyle, you wanted to do gym lifestyle. If you wanted to do gym lifestyle, where you could niche down into male and female, what age category, what nationality, what location, all these sorts of things. And this is your minimum viable audience. Like, what is the smallest amount of people, smallest group of people that you can have as true fans, die-hard fans, the 1,000 true fans, and then expand out from there. The good thing about doing a minimal viable product, the smallest version, to be able to sell the product, it's because it's fast and it proves to you if something can sell or not, rather than going through a massive process and spending loads of money and never actually getting a return on it. This is interesting, as a quote, and it says, if the product's free, then you are the product. If someone is giving you something for free and they're a viable business, they're selling your data to generate income. So the product, the thing that you are getting, yeah, that's not the product. You are the product. They're selling you. I don't know if I care that much about my personal data in the larger picture, but it's interesting to know this. I watch videos by Dan Lok, and I've quoted out different quotes from him, such as adding value first before asking for anything. So offering something before actually asking for anything in return. And this is because people have got their guard up a lot of the times, and they're just going to say no straight off the bat without actually processing through what you're offering. Setting wealth triggers, environmental triggers to remind you about your goals for your income, financial income or wealth, or the business that you want to be building, which is something that I do as part of my habit building focuses. But yeah, freelancers sell what they do. Entrepreneurs sell what other people do. Outsourcing. Yeah, so all in all, right now I'm doing Redbubble and I'm doing some clothing designs on there for speedy, rapid prototyping, but it all seems like a joke. I'm doing the YouTube videos here. This also feels like a joke as a business model, as a viable business model of entertainment or anything like this. I think my best option right now would be to start the dropshipping store, invest the smallest amount of money I can, or invest like £1,000 or something, and just say, this is my limit. Let's see if I can generate anything from this, and let's see what I learn in the next 6 months. This is going to be part of my goal for 2021, and I want to be kept accountable. So I want to look back on this and see if I've actually done it or not, because I've spent the last 6 months saying that I was going to do it and not actually committing to doing anything, even though I know the steps and it's a pretty simple process. Purchase some software, and this is supposed to help me find best-selling products, make comparisons between multiple stores. I spent £100 and something on it, and I've barely even used it. I basically browsed on it a couple of times, and it feels like a waste of money if I don't actually act upon anything right now. Press the like and subscribe button for more future content, and leave a comment, say hello, tell me how to make all the good monies and everything like this, and take care for the next video when I'm going to do another self-assessment. Bye bye.